Hi, Paul Coker here from onebloodydrop.com, and today I'm here in Brighton and I'm really excited to be here with Rachael Dunn. Rachael is an open water swimmer and she now lives here in Brighton, and I first met Rachael about 3 years ago at an Animus Sports weekend. I know that Rachael used to live in London and she had a stressful life, and I think she was going to share with us something about her story and what made her decide to change from living in London to living in Brighton and getting involved in open water swimming. So
okay, so I was, like you said, I was living in London for a number of years actually, and it got to a point where it was very stressful, and I think the main thing was that I wasn't following my dream and following my heart, so I ended up staying there for way longer than I should have done, but found living in London very stressful, but also the management of my diabetes went a little bit awry, and having lived with diabetes for sort of 20 years or so, it's very difficult at times. You know, I think we all know that it can be very, very hard, but also you can turn it around and make a positive out of it and live a pretty normal life. So we're actually the lucky ones, you know. So it's but there was a point when I was in London where I didn't feel so lucky and went into depression really. So not really sort of knowing what to do about it, I went to the doctor, got some antidepressants, and they helped me out of a very sort of dark place. But I found that sort of living with diabetes and the daily grind of it got on top of me, as well as sort of having a stressful working life up there. So I decided that I needed to sort of change everything, and so I went through a period of depression, which was really tough, but in my mind I knew kind of where I wanted to be, I just couldn't quite get there. So with a little help and a little bit of a push, I changed my life, left London, moved to Brighton, and I wanted to be by the sea. I wanted to sort of embrace sort of open water swimming and just be down here. I mean, look, it's amazing. So I see this every day, you know, and I never take it for granted. It's amazing to be down here in the open. And so I basically started cold water swimming. So I moved down here a couple of years ago, in the end of the summer. I got straight into cold water swimming whenever I felt quite depressed or low. I would take myself down to the beach, get in the sea, and dunk my head under, even if it, you know, when it gets really cold, it's down to 5 or 6 degrees. But those are the best times. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but probably am.
I'm reflecting on that because my parents live in Spain and they have an open swimming pool which is not heated, and I'll go out there in August and I'll put my big toe in the water and say it's too cold for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always think it's crazy not seeing more people in the sea. I mean, there's a lot of people that swim down here, but there's a lot of people that don't. So it's kind of a little bit of a mission of mine to get more people in the water, but mainly for the fact that it's really helped me mentally to sort of refocus, and whenever anything's a bit fuzzy, I just take myself down to the sea and go for a swim, and you know, you get your head down, and the cold water it's invigorating, it makes you feel alive, and that really helped me out of my depression. So sort of 18 months ago, took myself off the pills and just created a new life for myself down here and became a swim coach and help people overcome their fear of the water and helping them learn to swim, and just being in this sort of open air lifestyle is really good, and as a result my diabetes management is a whole lot better, and having a waterproof insulin pump has just been amazing for me, because I can just be in the pool for a couple of hours or get in the sea. So it's really good.
So that's quite a severe form of self-therapy.
Self-therapy,
put yourself through that. I'm just interested. because, as you've rightly said, diabetes and depression are intrinsically linked, and many people with diabetes go through a period of depression. And my experience and people that I know, the amount of psychological support for us is very limited. So just a question, did you get any psychological support, or were you just given a pharmaceutical remedy?
I sought out psychological support, so I did get a bit, but it runs out, you know. And how do you sustain feeling good? And for me, it's getting in the sea without question, and just being out in the open air, in the open water. It's amazing, and I'm trying to get more people to do it.
And actually, that's really important, because you mentioned before that you're a swim coach and you're trying to get more people to get in the water and do an open swim. So tell us a little bit about your mission to do that. I think you've got a business that's doing exactly that.
Yeah, so I'm teaching people to swim from sort of 3 years upwards. I've got a lot of children swimmers, and a lot more adults now as well, who want to improve their stroke. A lot of people come to me that are frightened. They've got a fear that they can't do something, and I think having diabetes as well for me has made me realise that it is possible to do these things, and you shouldn't be afraid. And there's many times when I felt afraid and haven't done things, and actually just fought back through, because I think I can do this, and I've got diabetes, and you know, it is possible. And so I find it really interesting when people are frightened of the sea, and you know, if I can get them swimming and doing something that they never thought they would do, if they can overcome that, then they can then go into their life as well, and you know, use that in their life, whatever they're doing, you know, and have that confidence. It's just an amazing thing to be able to do, to teach someone or to give them that newfound confidence, and then they can, it's not just about swimming, it's about just going forward and, you know, doing other things as well and being able to do it.
I can relate to that exactly, because about 6 or 7 years ago now, I was given the opportunity to take my shoes and socks off and walk across burning coals.
Right, there you go.
Every single fibre in your body
that?
says, why would you do that? This is really dangerous. And actually, the act of doing it teaches you that your fears are not necessarily based upon anything that's logical. They're based upon phobia, they're based upon self-doubt, and once you actually start to combat those, it's amazing the other things that you can go on and do.
Absolutely,
And it's always really surprising to me how empowering that was to do, and the things that I've gone on to do since doing that firewalk. And it sounds as though an open water swim is exactly the same experience.
Yeah, it's a similar experience, yeah. Absolutely. You can do anything if you want to. So
that's a really powerful story there, and I think it highlights a number of things. One is that there isn't enough support from a mental health aspect for those of us that have got diabetes. It's very much overlooked in the healthcare community, and you get diagnosed, and if you're lucky, you'll get a leaflet about what the mental support aspects of it might be. The other element of it is how most of us living with diabetes find self-coping strategies. Yours being to move to Brighton and do open water swimming, mine to climb stupidly high mountains and run a crazy number of half marathons.
But it's different for everybody, isn't it? And you find your thing.
That's right.
That works, that helps you, you know.
But I personally feel that sport for me is a form of therapy. And it helps me to manage my diabetes in both a physical and an emotional sense.
Absolutely.
And I think that if I can encourage more people to do sport who have diabetes, then I think that they will start to see the benefits, and it might help them in their own emotional journey with diabetes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm absolutely 100% behind you and with you on that, for sure.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, Rachel.
Thank you for having me.
And it's been a pleasure to interview you today, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you found that interview useful. There were lots of very important tips in there, especially about mental health and diabetes and the challenges that we face. If you are experiencing mental health problems with diabetes, I recommend that you make an appointment to see your doctor and your diabetes team. There is support available and there are special services out there. If you're interested in any form of support with diabetes, then subscribe below at oneblooddrop.com and you can see the interviews that we're putting up where we are filming many athletes who are performing in different types of sports who have diabetes, and they're sharing their stories about how they manage diabetes through a whole variety of sports, from football to swimming to mountain climbing to running, you name it. We're out there on a mission to find them. So thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.